Hello. The current generation of Sony consoles has been on the market for over 3 years. A large number of games from internal and third-party studios have been released. And today, console market analysts can already draw preliminary conclusions about the rate of growth or decline in demand for PlayStation products. Are PlayStation consoles the best-selling consoles in their area of the consumer market?
After Nintendo.
Or has the competition reached such a level that there is no clear leader? We will talk about this in this video today. Let's get started. Let's go. In August, Sony published a financial report stating that PlayStation 5 sales had grown to 61.8 million units. In the first quarter of the current financial year, Sony Interactive Entertainment managed to sell another 2.4 million consoles. Last year, PlayStation 5 was purchased more actively. Then, from April to June, players purchased 3.3 million consoles. Despite the decline in demand, the gaming division's revenue increased by 12% and operating profit by 33% in the first quarter. This was also due to good sales of subscriptions and games on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. In particular, Helldivers 2 performed well. Helldivers 2 officially became the fastest-selling game in the entire history of Sony's publishing activities. As of May 5th, it sold more than 12 million copies. Based on the results of its first 12 weeks on the market, the multiplayer sensation from Arrowhead Game Studios was able to attract more buyers than Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok did at the time. On average, it sold 1 million copies per week. Sony did not disclose separate statistics for the PlayStation 5 and PC versions, but confirmed that Helldivers 2 had a very positive impact on the financial performance of the corporation's gaming division in the fourth quarter. Over the past 3 months, the PlayStation console audience has bought 56.5 million copies of games, 2.9 million copies less than in the first quarter of last year, which is a good result considering the lull in the market. Digital copies account for 80% of all software sold. The figure of 80% makes everyone who prefers to collect games on physical media nervous, doesn't it? It looks like the release of games on discs may completely stop in the near future, but we were predicted this in the previous generation. So let's not panic ahead of time. Let's continue. Sony also reported that the average monthly active users of PSN increased by 8 million people over the year to 116 million. But compared to the previous quarter, it decreased by 2 million people. Analysts note that the PlayStation ecosystem is showing good game sales, given the lull in the release schedule. But the decline in demand for consoles raises questions, especially considering that Sony adjusted its sales forecast downward several times last year, from 25 million to 21 million units, and ultimately managed to sell 20.8 million units for the full year. The weaknesses of the PlayStation 5 are currently called the insufficient number of system sellers and the high price. Instead of reducing the price, there was an increase in the price after the console's launch. Analysts surveyed by the financial agency Bloomberg expected Sony to sell 3 million consoles in the first quarter of the current financial year. In particular, they said, things are not going as rosy for PlayStation right now as the numbers show, given the weakening yen. Sony expected PlayStation 5 sales to start declining this year, but demand appears to be falling faster than we expected, Morningstar analyst Kazunori Ito said. The weakest link is hardware sales. The year-over-year decline is not surprising, but it is significant. Sony can only hope that Astrobot or another new game coming out this year will make more people want to buy a PlayStation 5, analyst Serkan Toto added. It is also worth noting that the PlayStation 5 is currently lagging behind the PlayStation 4 in sales dynamics by 1.8 million units. So what conclusions can be drawn? Of course, Sony shows impressive sales figures for its products. But is everything really that good? The fact is that the modern gaming industry is a fairly big business, comparable to the production of mid-budget Hollywood films. Large AAA projects take 4-5 years to make and cost tens of millions of dollars. And it is becoming increasingly difficult and takes longer to recoup such gigantic costs. And if the public does not accept the project or it completely fails, companies suffer large financial losses. Who knows? Maybe releasing separate gaming devices will soon become completely unprofitable. And it will be easier and cheaper for Sony to embed its PlayStation directly into its TV as a separate electronic board or a combination of chips. The end consumer simply buys a TV, buys the subscriptions he needs, and simply watches TV series and plays video games without any additional devices. Perhaps we will see all this in the future. And for now, that's all. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next videos. Bye!